What's up, you guys? Welcome. It's your girl Brittana. Happy New Year. I want to wish you all a happy and healthy a new year filled with love, peace, and abundance, and so many blessings. As you can tell by the title of this video, this will be like kind of somewhat of like a girl chat. I'm just me kind of breaking down a few tips on how I usually prepare myself for the new year ahead. So let's get right into it. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the tribe. I do post content weekly, and I create content all about lifestyle, fashion, wellness, holistic living, mom tips, parenting, veganism, and so much more. Okay, so just to kind of get right into this video, as I just mentioned, I will be discussing some tips to kind of help you guys prepare for the new year, but more or less just share my personal experiences on how I prepare for the new year, mainly due to the fact that I've been asked, a few times, like, hey Britt, like, how do you stay so productive, or how do you plan, or how do you stay organized? And I really felt like, why not create a video where I can share some of my realistic tips, kind of just sharing what I've done and what I plan to do this year that may be a little different than my normal years. It may seem a little cliche, but just definitely stick with me and continue through this video. All right, so you guys, I do have my laptop here because I did have like some notes. I may be just like looking down back and forth a few times just to kind of make sure that I'm touching every single point. So just to kind of get us started, the first tip that I really want to cover is setting realistic goals. Okay, so I know we have all heard this before, like people say, set realistic goals and create action plans, and I definitely want to touch on that for sure, but I want to more or less focus on the reason why it's important to set realistic goals. Now for me setting realistic goals is good for the fact that it seems attainable. So if you create smaller goals with realistic deadlines, and especially each day, it'll be easier to accomplish those goals, and it'll help for your confidence, and it'll just kind of not stress you out and overwhelm you, because I'm the type of person that literally will like have so many goals and so many things on my to-do list to the point where I'm like stressed out. And I remember even last year I would help a few clients that also had that same issue, and one of the things that with one of my clients that we ran into was the fact that the way they were going about setting their intentions the night before was not realistic. So they would literally have a list of maybe 20 to 25 items of things that they would love to accomplish in a day. Let me throw that in there. And so for me, I think what had helped this person or this individual to create more realistic goals was to actually focus on creating and setting the intention the night before on like 3 to 5 goals that were realistically achievable. And so that's what we did, and we took the other remainder of the goal and spread them out throughout the week. And by the end of the week, when I checked in with her, she felt so much more at ease, and a lot of the goals that she had set each day were attainable. And the reason why I say 3 to 5 is because ideally you want to have like at least 5 major goals, and like I said, 3 maybe smaller goals. And just like I said, get to do what you can do throughout the day. If you can knock out all 3 major goals and you have like 2 additional ones and you have time to get them done, go for it. But at least if you have 3 major goals and that you can accomplish throughout the day, then you'll feel like I said more at ease, and it's a little more achievable and attainable to do so. So once again, there's different ways of going about this, like creating those goals, and different ways about going about creating like an action plan. But like you really want to have the goal, have a deadline, and then have some action steps in terms of like what you want, like what you will plan to do to actually achieve that goal. I actually have a like an action plan like layout that I probably will link down below that I use for my personal sake, and on there I actually also will include like some type of motivation. So if it's like me you know, getting a certain reach on my Instagram, or, you know, making a certain amount of income wise at the end of the month, I will use that as like an actual goal, and then I will like list out the steps that I need to do to achieve that, and some motivation as well. Now for like this more like day-to-day type of tasks or day-to-day goals, you may not need to actually have like a detailed action plan, but it would be nice to kind of at least wrap your mind around how you plan to achieve those goals. Some other things that I kind of want to talk about with this is the fact that like when it comes to setting your goals, you can also, for the new year, you can also create like a digital mood board. I love using Canva and Pinterest when it comes down to creating digital mood boards. Just for the sake of having like a visual thing also helps, if you're, especially if you're into manifesting and into visualization, which is a whole nother video in itself. But I think those things like, you know, like the Canva and Pinterest really help get you to see that goal, you know, in a way where you become and you are able to then, like I said, visualize it and actually allow it to come to pass. So I really wanted to throw that out there. Also, I wanted to bring up the fact that even when you're setting your goals, keep in mind, I know each year, I know we heard this before, that everyone says new year, new me, but it's really a mindset thing. So I think it should be more or less new year, new mindset. And I really, for me personally, came into this new year with the mindset of this not just being a new year. I wanted this to be a new chapter, a new season for myself, mainly for the sake of me transitioning in different like pathways for career wise, and just, you know, like moving and just different things that I have planned this year. I definitely wanted to just change my mindset around that. So like I said, I looked at it more as like a new season. So with that being said, this is this season 22. Okay, you know, the year 2022, but we're gonna call it season 22. And I really like that because when I thought about it, you know, in my head it sounded really good, and then I actually kind of like spoke to somebody and broke it down to them how I'm looking at it, and it kind of clicked. So if you guys get it, just definitely comment down below if this makes sense to you. So how I was looking at it, I was comparing like each year to that of like a Netflix series, or just any like series on Hulu or Prime Video or whatever the case may be, where each season there are usually the same characters, but each character either has changed like and evolved. You have some characters that stay the same. You also have some characters that literally just are in the growth process, and you as an individual get to choose which character you would like to be. So once again, there are characters that have evolved and have changed dramatically. There are characters that have not evolved and don't plan on changing, and there are characters that are in the growth process. So for me, I've chosen to continue my growth, and I feel like there's always room to grow, and you can always continue to grow. And it kind of ties back to the same series, you know, what I just mentioned with like a whole Netflix series, that even with that, you know, you see that they have the same environment, things of that nature, whatever the case may be. But for me, I wanted to kind of keep that in the back of my mind, that I get to choose and create, you know, whether I want to stay in the same predicament or not. I could choose and create whether I want to, you know, evolve or change my environment. And I have read something recently that basically stated, if you are mad about the situation that you're in, that means that you are not planning on changing that situation. And that literally spoke to me, you guys. It's from the book, I believe it's called Billionaire how billionaires think. Don't quote me that. I will definitely link that down below. If anything, if you guys like to want the actual title, definitely comment for it. But that spoke to me on so many levels, because towards the end of the year, I definitely have been like struggling a lot with like, you know, like the transitioning in my growth and my personal development, doing a lot of introspection more than ever, because, you know, after having a baby, things kind of have transformed into a different life. So I have different outlooks on different things, but I just really wanted to bring that up, because even through your struggle, yes, you know, naturally we all go through something, but once again, if you're upset about that struggle and you get so mad at that struggle or that issue or that problem, 9 times out of 10, that's probably because you don't have no intention on changing that. And, you know, it may come off a certain type of way with me saying this, and if you're listening to it, but I do want to note that, look at it this way. If you, I want to make sure I give like a really good example. So if my pen, this is probably the worst example, but if my pen is running out of ink, and I know there's like 3 other pens over there on the table, I'm not going to get mad that the pen is running out of ink. I'm just going to put the pen to the side and I'm going to go get another pen, which ties into the main point that you literally have control over your life, over your destiny. And you obviously, we're all human beings, and it's natural to, you know, be upset about things, but I just want you guys to kind of take that into consideration like I have, because like I said, it really resonated with me. And I think that, like I said, if you are going to just stay mad at the situation, you're not going to move forward. So I think that is where I kind of want to leave off with that when it comes down to the goals. So really quick, I want the theme of this video really to just kind of be the fact that it's okay to start over. So that's going to be like the running theme through this video. And the reason why I want to bring that up is because it ties into my next tip. So the next thing that I usually do is fasting, for a variety of reasons. And I've been fasting each year, each January, and sometimes like throughout mid-year, like around June or July, for about like a few years now. And then in terms of just like fasting only in January, I've been doing that since I was younger. So if you've seen any of my other videos, or if you've actually like followed me on social media, you'll know that I came from, especially if you know me personally, you'll know that I come from more of like a spiritual upbringing or religious upbringing. So if you're familiar with the 21-day Daniel fast and things of the nature, where you do that as part of with your church, that's something that I grew up on. So each January, that's something that I've always implemented into my New Year preparation tradition. But over the years, it has kind of evolved into more of like a health thing, where I've cut out chicken, I cut out meat, and transitioned from that to being pescatarian to being fully vegan, right? And now I am more, actually I'm going to touch on that in a second. So let me just rewind. So yeah, so I basically have had that upbringing. So I also focus with my fast on cutting out social media. I also basically focus on just like doing different things, like I say, really just to prepare myself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and more. So going back to the fasting, mainly I just try to take the beginning of the year to kind of detox, to cleanse, and just kind of really reset my mind, my body, my spirit for the new year, so that way I can really just take on whatever I need to take on like throughout the year. So going back to what I was saying with the overall theme being it's okay to start over, one of the things that I planned to do this year is really just rebuild my relationship and connection with God. So as I just mentioned, I'm very spiritual, and I grew up, in the church and grew up in a religious standpoint. But however, I think over the years I definitely have evolved and opened my mind to different things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of the things, at least within the past year or so, I feel like I haven't included God as much into my decisions as I have wanted it to, as I should have. So, and I said, this is not for you, please fast forward this video, or just completely stop watching it. But I really wanted to put this part in here because it ties into like my fast. So what I will do for my spiritual standpoint, I have, I did go ahead and purchase this 52-week Bible study, a year-long Bible study for women by Kimberly Moore. I love the fact that it's the author is African American, and the fact that week by week it gives you a little journaling prompt, like some scriptures and like devotionals to kind of read throughout each week, and it doesn't take that long. So this week I plan to just take a day and just like to read some of the scriptures and just like to really focus on really reconnecting myself with God. Also, I think that will help me personally because, like I said, I have some really big things coming up, and it's not that I'm just using that as like, oh, that's the only reason, but I feel like lately I've been so distracted, and I'm pretty sure other people can relate to this too, where especially with what's going on with the pandemic, I feel like there's no real clarity in my life, and I want to just really and truly make sure that I'm walking solely in my purpose. And so that kind of ties back to like my other versions of my fast. Like in terms of my health, I also will be fasting, and like as I mentioned about a few minutes ago, I am vegan. If you have been following me for a while, you know that. And so in terms of like how I usually do the health version of my fast, I usually will start off the year, like the first week, with like a nice cleanse, nice detox. And this year I will be actually starting off, since I am still nursing, by doing a juice fast, but doing like the whole month I will be eating like raw vegan. So definitely stay tuned for some raw vegan like recipes, because I will be doing some videos on that and dropping them into my stories back when I get back on social media later. But yeah, so for the most part I will be just like cutting out like cooked processed food for like the month of January. So I already am not in the sense of like I already don't eat like gluten on a daily basis, or soy on a daily basis, but I make sure I'm super strict during the months of January when I'm fasting to focus on a more alkaline diet. So there is definitely no soy, definitely no gluten, and I try as much as possible, like I said, to incorporate like whole fresh foods, juices, salads, wraps, and like I said, just a couple other recipes that are just like fully raw or dehydrated, so I can break that down to you guys so you guys understand what I mean when I say raw. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I wanted to discuss with that. So like that kind of ties into and I also wanted to mention that also during the month of January, so I'll do my detox and my cleanse. So the first week I'm going to be doing like just the juices with the raw, and the remainder of the month I will also be incorporating some herbs, some other types of cleanses as well that are not going to be so harsh on my system or release that many toxins, because like I said, I am still nursing. If I wasn't nursing, I would probably be doing like my bitters and just like some other like heavier herbs that will like release my system. Another thing I also will be cutting out would be like sugars. So once again, I try as much as possible to eat as healthy as possible, but I am human and I like to snack. So if you can relate to me, definitely drop some type of like little food emoji down below, because I am a foodie. But I feel like this past year I just kind of slacked off in the terms of not paying attention to like my added sugar intake. So I really want to give my body that reset that is needed through the cleanses and through my detoxes as much as possible, so that way I can get back into like I said, more of like a grounded state of being. So that also means that I probably will not be consuming like sugar. Well, the goal is to not consume sugars, and definitely no like added sugars. The only sugars that I will obviously consume will be the natural sugars that come from fruit. I don't want to make this like a whole health video. I just really want to just to touch on that, because these are just some of the things that I usually do, and they all together, everything kind of comes together, because you are what you consume, down from what you watch, down to what you listen to, down to who you're around, down to what you eat. You are literally what you consume. And I can almost guarantee I'm not the only person that has ever said this. I'm pretty sure you have heard this before, which is fine, but I will make sure that I am going to repeat that you are what you consume. And so I'm very intentional about with that, being that and keeping that in mind, bringing that up, that actually kind of ties into my next third tip is the noise cancellation method / like social media detox. So I usually go on these social media detox, usually like I said at the beginning of the year, really just to kind of get myself focused and ready and prepared for the year to come, because I find myself kind of like, when I get on social media, to like just kind of get lazy or distracted, I will scroll, go on the explore page, start comparing myself to others, and then sometimes even getting shiny object syndrome, where like I'll see a business idea and then like oh, that sounds really cool, and not really focusing on what it is that is like super important, or what it is that I'm actually like doing, and just making sure that works and actually like become something. And then also going with like the noise cancellation method, what I said, usually what that consists of is me literally cutting all social media, TV, like movies, Netflix, like any type of like platform like that, completely out for the next like 30 days. For music, I'll even cut music out, mainly for the sake of like, I don't want anything like clouding my judgment, cluttering my head, my brain with just like added words, or trying to like reprogram my thoughts and my opinions or anything of that nature. And no, that does not make me weak-minded or weak-willed. It's just the fact that sometimes when you seclude yourself from like things like that, or just in general, you are able to hear more from God, in my opinion. And I think that, like I said, me cutting these things out helps. And so in terms of music, I will still like have like listen to binaural beats, like 432 hertz jazz music, or like ambient sounds for that matter. But for the most part, like all the extra stuff, I'm really just not gonna be focused on like at all. And like I said, it really is just for the sake of being able to just really connect and focus on like what's important. Like if I want to create content, every single time I do these like social media detox, I'm able to batch create, stay super focused, and I feel more connected and more more connected for that matter. So like I'm more present. There we go. I'm more present when it comes to my son, and when it comes down to my partner. Like I'm just more present in my daily, activities. I'm very mindful of what's going on, and it just helps me feel a lot better and less stressed of like, okay, I have to post this time, I have to do this, I have to do that. So I just also like to do that, like cut it out for that matter as well. Okay, so my last and final tip is to really just do what's best for you. That's kind of like the main and easiest thing for, I feel like, everyone to follow, because of the fact that what may work for me may not work for you, what may work for you may not work for someone else. And I can give you these tips only because I feel like they personally help me, but maybe 1 or 2 out of the 3, 2 out of the 5 may help you, and others may not, or maybe all of them may help you, or maybe you may just take very like little key points as just like smaller tips that may be like, oh, I never even thought about that. That's good to know, and that may help you prepare for your year. But the main thing is, like I said, do what's best for you, and just focus on what your goals are for yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously, because I definitely do that a lot, to where the point where I overly stress and overwhelm myself, and literally just go crazy with it. So so just be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself, visualize what you want this year to be like, and just really feel it. Alright, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you truly enjoyed that. Also, definitely give this video a thumbs up, because it allows me to know which videos or which content you like, so I can create more of it. please comment down below a little white heart so I know that you made it through this video. And if you haven't already, once again, be sure to comment and subscribe. Oh yes, please also comment down below any of your favorite like tips or tricks that you use to prepare yourself for the new year. Once again, have a happy new year and a blessed new year, and I will see you guys in the next video.